Hi everyone, it's Linda Pearson here from Inspired Art Journaling. Today I thought I would just do up I don't know if it's going to be a quick page, but it's just something that just sort of come to me. I'm currently in the middle of the Claire Stead Alter Cut and Create. It's an online workshop that she's doing, and we're just doing some amazing things on there. And I was a little bit inspired to, well, firstly, for the Inspired Art Journaling Facebook group, we reached a milestone of 1,000 group members last week, which was really exciting for me. And as a gift for you, I actually gave everyone this cutout sheet that you could use. It's chrysanthemums, and I put that up there so that people could use it in their scrapbooking, card making, or whatever. But it's been on my mind as to what I can do with that, and so I had this little bit of inspiration from doing the work with Claire Stead and the cutting and altering of her a little Dina Wakley. We're using this little A6x6 Dina Wakley craft diary journal. So I thought, maybe I could do something with that, because her course is giving me lots and lots of inspiration. I've got all these ideas buzzing around in my head, and I thought, what better way to use some of those ideas is by creating an altered page using this cutout sheet. So that's where I'm heading for today. So let's get cracking into it. If you haven't seen her website, I do suggest you go on to Claire Stead is Art Journal Love. She's from England, and brilliant artist, and has lots and lots of great ideas and courses that you can do. So go on to Art Journal Love website and look in under the online classes and have a go at that, because it really is a brilliant class. So I'll put that aside because I have actually cut all of those out. So this is what I'm using today. Is my, I'll just turn this off. Sorry, I'm just charging my other phone, so power off. Thank you. All right, so yes, I've got a couple of these little guys. These are the 6x6 or 15 centimeters square Dina Wakley craft journals, and so they're fabulous and really good sturdy cardboard in here. But it is still, we're going to be doing some cutting, and it is, still pliable. With a little bit of practice, you'll be wonderful at it. Okay, so the first thing that I have already pre-cut all of the flowers from the cutout sheet, so that's something you can do later. But the idea is we're actually going to do this is going to take up 4 pages in our craft book. So what I will need is a cutting board, and what I've done is a circle. I've already made my circle 10 centimeters across in diameter. And so you can see here, I've already drawn one on here with a pencil. So you can use any object. I'm saying 10 centimeters across, or 4 inches. You can make it whatever size you like, because I'm leaving a nice good border around here. We are also going to need an acetate sheet and a cut off piece of cardboard. This is just something that I received something in the other day, so I'm going to be using that. And yeah, so that's where we'll start. So for the first part we will grab our craft knife, make sure it's got a nice really sharp blade, and we're going to cut around. Now it does take a little bit of practice knowing, you know, just what pressure to use, because it is thick card, and I mean, because it is a thick card, it really lends itself to cutting out, because you can just do so much with it. But it can take a little bit of practice. And can you notice I'm turning my book, and please keep your other hand away and making sure you don't cut into yourself. Look, I'm not doing a very good job as far as sticking to the line, and that's okay. Just have to make sure that I do my other sections. Oops. So some parts you may just have to go over again because your pressure is probably a bit off. And like I say, it does take a little bit of practice, but it's a lot of fun. And the key is to make sure that you have a sharp blade. Now for the moment we'll just put that back on. I've done a dreadful job up here, but that's okay. We're going to be painting these as well. Right, now I'm recording, I've got a sniffy nose. Sorry guys. Okay, so I mean I can tidy that up later, but I'll worry about that then. Okay, so then the next we're going to let me just think what I'm doing here. So that's the cut out one. Yeah, okay, so this one will need to be cut out with a circle also, because these are actually going to be glued together. And so we want just a little bit of a window. So what I will do is get my pencil, trace around the hole that I have there, grab my excuse me, I might just get a glass of water, sorry guys. It's amazing, I've been sitting here all morning, and now that I go to, maybe that's because I haven't been talking to anyone, I've just been sort of sitting here by myself. Okay, so cutting out, just taking your time, don't rush it. Am I still on camera? Yeah, sorry. Get a bit carried away when I'm doing this. Remember to put your little board underneath. I actually love these things that I've got underneath here. You can have your proper cutting, you know, the self-healing mats, they're good. But I do find them sometimes to be, oh God, just a minute, just a little bit thick in the spine area. That doesn't mean you can't use it, but this is one I got from Aldi a couple of years ago. They're paper thin, so it means they're really good for slipping right up to the edge. But I mean, you know what Aldi's like, you can buy it one week but you can't buy it the next week, so I don't know if you can still get them, because I bought them, oh gosh, I'd say good 3 years ago. And they weren't expensive, so I bought, you know, 3 or 4 of them. Got a couple in the house as well. Oh, dearie me. I think I need a new blade because I made a terrible mess of that. But that's okay. Alright, so we've got those two. So they will eventually be joined together. We're going to put the acetate in between here. We're going to make a little shaker type arrangement going on with a little bit of glitter inside, or anything else that you might have in your stash. So we'll leave it at that for the, what I will do is at least draw. So we've got the first page there, that's the front, and then this is going to be the back of the front, if you get my drift. Now this is going to be a cutout page. So what we're going to do, we're going to get a bit fancy on this one. Whoops. Knock that off after. So we're actually going to get a bit fancy, and this is where we're going to grab a ruler, which was just sitting here. Where's my little ruler gone? Oh, this is okay, so now I am going to measure this up. Quite often when I do this, like when I'm doing it with Claire, I don't actually do a lot of measuring, but for this particular one I will. What I'm going to do here, I prefer my other ruler because it's cleaner and it's lighter, and I just don't know what I've done with it. You wouldn't believe it, but I've actually cleaned up my desk today. I got it. Okay, I just like this one because I can see through it better and it's clearer. So I'm just doing these on an angle, and thinking, so I am going to measure. So what's that? That's about 5 mil, say 6 mil actually. And I'm going to do 2 centimeters, 2 centimeters. Okay. Look, I'm not even measuring that. I'm just eyeballing that at 5 mil. In fact, I'll just measure the whole, eyeball the whole thing. You can measure if you wish, but so I'm deliberately doing them on a diagonal this time. I've done hearts and everything with Claire, and so what I'm going to do is I'm just grabbing a point, a starting point here. So I'm now doing it the opposite way. These are all going to be painted, these pages, so you know the pencil lines will disappear eventually. I can always rub out what I don't want. Like I say, I'm just eyeballing. So I'm just doing a bit of a checkered or weave, I don't know what you want to call it. Okay, we'll leave it like that. Okay, so then the next thing is to cut those out. I found before when I'm doing one, I'm just going to cut all of the one way. Doesn't matter how you cut them out. So long as you cut them all. Now you do have to apply a bit of pressure on these. Do those so I don't forget them. And I'm sorry if I go quiet on you because sometimes I get a little bit carried away here. I'm just using a knife here that I actually got from Bunnings. I found that I had a Fiskars one too, which, because I've been using this particular one with the Claire Stead, I've kind of gotten used to it, so I haven't, the Fiskars one I think is going to be more comfortable in my hand. I can't use I've got this one here, which is really good, but it's a little bit thin for my arthritic fingers, so I wanted something a little bit thicker, and the Fiskars, oh, wrong one. The Fiskars one is, I think, going to be even better. So you know, I need to practice with that one before I decide to use it. Look, oh gosh, just cut right through. Don't be careful, and look, you can always tape it up if you do cut. Okay, so I'll turn this to the side. I usually cut all these straight lines before I do the circle part, so oops. And again, I think this is because it's just not sharp enough. I'm putting too much pressure on it, and I'm doing a little bit of overcutting. And that's just because it's slipping, because the blade's just not. Of course, you don't think to change it until you start cutting. And you know, I mean, I don't panic about it not being perfectly straight. If the lines are a little bit wibbly wobbly, that's okay. It's all part of this, you know, this is a hand created project, so it's not machine generated, so it's not going to have that precision, and I don't want that precision either. Whoops, done it again. Right, so I think I'm right there, so I just have to cut around. Excuse me for sniffing. Right, turn your book to suit your cutting. Always remember to be safe when you're doing these. It can be a little bit, oh, done that one. Last thing we want is you to cut your hand. I think my hubby's a bit worried about me doing this because the last 2 weeks I have, let me see, won't cut that. No, I can't cut that. I have 2 weeks in a row I have cut myself in the kitchen with the knife. He thinks it's a ploy to get out of cooking, but it doesn't help. Okay, so just some of your bits get a little bit furry on the edges. You can just, you know, trim them up after. See how good your cutting is. I guess that furriness happens too when your blade's a bit blunt, because I've not had that as much as what I'm having here now. Oh goodness, where am I? Oh dear. I mean, this is a new book too, so I wonder the pages are a bit stiffer in this one than my other one. But I dare say I've done a lot of cutting with Claire, so I'd say I'm probably due for a new blade, particularly with, because these craft pages are thick, so they do take a little bit of time. Always remember to put your mat underneath. I'd hate for you to cut through all your pages. Doing a terrible job of this today. So once you get the hang of it, it really does. It's really interesting to do these, because I just, you know, I see all these cut out pages that people do, and I think, oh dear. But, you know, honestly, I'm kind of becoming obsessed with it now that I've been doing it with Claire for 7 weeks. So we're kind of halfway through the course. And the book is just looking so nice and juicy. I can't really show you the book that I'm doing because it's not fair. It is her business, so I shouldn't be, although I'm advertising it, I don't know. I haven't asked permission to show it. Oops, couple more and then we're finished. Let's hope they're easy to come out. So you end up with all these little bits, all these tiny little offcuts I probably throw away, but these bigger ones I'll keep them for something else later. Okay, so then that will be our main page at the back, so they're like the focus page. Oh, go away. Sometimes what I do is get my sandy just to help wipe off some of those furry bits. Anyway, let's move that out the way. Okay, so now we've got our front, then the second page, which is eventually going to be stuck together. Then this is our little tiny cutout, and behind that will be our focal image from that page. Okay, so I'll just put my lid on this so I don't do anything with it. Okay, so that is, get rid of that for the moment. All right, so now I'm going to, using a little bit different colours with these. Now, normally with like a lot of these pages I've done have been painted black, but I just sort of felt that black would be a little bit too harsh for this, you know, the cutout sheet that we're using. It might be okay. You could use black if you think you'd like to, but I'm going to, there's a bit of purpley colour, yellow, you know, there's all sorts of colours there, and a nice tealy sort of leaf colour. So I'm thinking instead of black in the backgrounds, I'm going to be using, again, I don't know why, I keep gravitating to my Paper Artsy paints. I'm not quite sure. I think it's just the colours that I've got that I keep using them. But anyway, it's not for any reason. I'm not getting commission from them or anything like that. It's just, it seems to be my go-to at the moment. And I think I just love the texture of the paint, because it is a matte fresco. It is a, oh, sorry, just looking for a brush. It's fresco, it's a matte paint. But I'm going to be using, I'm using grape. It's the, but apart from going into midnight or anything like that, this is the deepest one that I've got. Now, I don't always put gesso on the page when I'm doing these. Normally I would. So you don't get as brighter colour because it's got to come, it's going over the craft paper, but it, you know, usually is for what we're doing, because we do lots of layers with stenciling and that kind of thing. So, and I'm just going to be gentle going down there because I don't know what I'll do on that page. Probably end up doing something with the grape. The only problem with the working straight onto the craft is it's very thirsty paint, very thirsty. So I may actually end up putting a couple of coats on this. I'll dry it off and then see what the intensity of colour is like. But if I'm not really liking it, I will so kind of happy with that. Just put that in there, just give this a bit of a dry off so I can see what it's like. Okay, now I'm kind of happy with that. I'll just put a bit down there because I've missed, because we will be stenciling over the top of it, so that there's a reasonable coverage on there. I'm not going to paint these two because they are going to be together and there's going to be the acetate in between, so I don't think I will paint those at this point, but I might as well, while I'm here, I'll just put that in there. Might as well paint these while I'm at it, and you can change the colours up if you wish. It just depends on what you like. But if you're using Dina Wakley, the night colour, you could use black, but the night, if you don't want to go black, sometimes black is a little bit too intense for me, but I'll quite happily use night or marine if you're doing Dina Wakley. Just be careful on your lattice there to make sure you get it all. If you wanted to too, if you didn't want to use up so much paint, you could use clear gesso on the surface to prepare it, just like you would if you were preparing like a can, you know, using your white gesso. It might just alleviate, it just gives it that tooth so it doesn't chew up too much of your coloured paint. But that's, you know, that's something you can do if you wish. Yes, I can do this side. Alright, put it in here. Oop. Yeah, so this has been quite an enjoyable exercise, learning how to do these cutout sheets. So I'm quite happy I've opted to do the course with Claire. So all kudos should go to Claire because, you know, she's given me lots and lots of inspiration, but now I'm wanting to use what she's taught me to bring in my own ideas with it. Now, of course, I am covering it. I mean, you can still see some of the brown coming through, and that's okay. And I will paint these as well in the same colour. Sorry, yeah, you could, I think I was going to say too, I didn't quite finish off what I was wanting to say, is that I'm covering the whole of the page. You could actually just leave lots of the craft paper shining through if you wanted to, so that's entirely up to you as well. If you want that more grungy sort of a look to it, which is nice. Some of the pages we've done have had that effect as well, and it's good. Can't get over how much paint I'm using. It's thirsty, plus it's Brisbane, so you know it's very hot. So the paints just seem to soak into, particularly being this cardboard. Just want to paint that lattice, make sure I've got paint on that as well. Okay, so I think it's pretty much covered now. There might be a few areas where it's a bit, you know, not so good. Okay, right, so that is that. We've got our main pages there. There's a little bit showing through, but the main focus flower is going to be sitting smack bang in the middle, so I shan't be worried too much about that. That's all. Don't want to mark. Okay, so because this is all about chrysanthemums, and to me chrysanthemums are associated, well, in Australia anyway, for us it's associated with Mother's Day, and so I've got a heart a heart stencil out that I will use, and I've got my sugar plum colour, which is a pinky colour, so I'm just going to put some of that out. Grab a couple of I shall use makeup sponge. You can use blending brushes, whatever you like to use. So I'm just going to put that in behind there, and I'll just put it in spots. I don't necessarily have to cover the whole thing. Now this is just a random stencil that I have. It's got hair all over it, but it's not. In fact, I don't know who produced it, but anyway, I'm just going to put this over. You can put whatever stencil on you like. It just is just something that I just thought I would use in this instance. Okay, a little bit up there. I'll just put it over here as well. Okay, I'm going to put other things on there as well, so that is all right. Okay, again, I'll do the similar sort of thing. I'll probably do, just for ease, for the ease of whatever, I will probably just do the same thing on most of the pages. Use the same techniques, might be done a little bit differently, but that's okay. Just to add a little bit of interest. Oops, better be careful. Come down here. It might look a little bit slap happy at the moment, but by the time you start building up your layers, it will be fine. The lattice will have stenciling on it all over, but not necessarily the one stencil. So I've got a couple of stencils here that I'll probably end up using, and so eventually it will be covered, but not necessarily the same stencil. Just a little bit there. I'm probably going overboard here, but that's okay. Excuse me. Right, we've got that there, we've got that there. be going overboard with the stenciling here, you know, that's not worried about that being all messy there because it'll be covered up by focus flower. Okay, that off a bit there. It's a bit too much, but anyway, I'll just make sure I put some other stenciling over the top of that. Just make sure these pages are all dry. They should be, because it's only been lightly rubbed on. Okay. Alright, now, for this circle, only because I've got this stencil, not the, you know, I just thought it's just that little bit bigger. It's not going to be much, but I thought, oh, I'll give it a go, and I might do it in, I'm just going to cut this off a bit because I've completely ruined that. Now I might grab the plum. See, we'll go back to plum, put a little bit of plum out, and just see how it goes with putting the plum back over the top of it, and see if it does anything to it. If not, I'll add a bit of white or something to it. I'm just not sure what I'm going to get here. Whoops. Yeah, kind of worked a little. I'm actually not too dissatisfied with that. I might leave that like that. Looks like I've almost gone around it with a pen, which is pretty cool. Put that in there. It probably could have done with a little bit of white in it to make it slightly different, but I'm not going to worry too much about that. I'll just leave it like this. I mixed it in with a bit of the pink, but it didn't do much. There wasn't much pink there. I don't mind it because it's just adding that little bit of subtlety there. Turn that off a bit. I will get a bit more out. So I'll do it on this side too. It's hard to know where it's sitting on the page. Anyway, that'll do. So I'm not quite, oh. What am I doing here? Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay, so that's just added a little bit of interest behind there. Not a lot, but that's okay. I mean, as with all these things, that they go through an ugly stage before they look any better. But one thing it is doing is, just trying to see, it is sort of pushing back some of the hearts that weren't so good. So that's always a good thing as well. Okay. And it does look a little bit messy because of the under page there, but that's okay. But what I will do on this page is put it up here. And we'll just make it a little more interesting that way. Whoa. Okay, and then we'll put, so I'll put that there because it can go over onto this page as well. I mean, if you've got circle stencils, you could do this, but it's not a necessary thing to even do this. It's just that this is, for me, this is a new stencil and I wanted to try it out. Okay. Alright, so it doesn't look too bad there. Oh, it's quite purpley. I mean, I'm a purple girl, but not so much in my journaling. Certainly not to the scale of this, so I will be toning it right down with other stenciling that I've got here. Alright, so it's kind of hard to see. I wish I will use this just so you can sort of see what that looks like underneath there. Okay, so it doesn't look so bad. It's because of all those other pages are just so messy. It's hard to see what they're really like. So you've got that, and then you've got that there. So it doesn't look so bad anyway when you see it like that. Alright, so I will just try and think, because I was going to put, I'm just going to grab, I've got, this is called Snowflake, so it's like a winter white. It's not a pure white. It's not what, I think they're white linen, I think is their white one, but it's almost white. So what I'm doing is I'm just dabbing it into the purpley colour just to give it that sort of slightly purpley look to it, and I'm just pouncing it off because I'm trying to blend all of that in, because I just want to, this is almost like an Asamic writing type stencil, just to push back some of those hearts. And I should have put my piece of paper underneath and I didn't, which was naughty. Okay, yep, that's not looking too bad. So put the paper underneath and be sure I dust. Too much paint on there. Yeah, not too bad at all. So we'll do this here. Okay. Grab another section over here. I'm deliberately putting it on to places where there is no stenciling, so to give it something in its own right. And just a bit down here. Alright, so that's that. Okay. And here, so I'll start in the middle. Grab a little bit of purple. Try and bash up as much as I can. So here we go. Starting off into this section that has No stenciling. I'm so sorry about that. I'm kind of got two phones going here at the minute, so I think that's what. Join that up there. I think that's what's happening. Because I'm not talking to them. Maybe they're talking to each other. Beautiful. Over here. I'm certainly not a minimalist when it comes to this sort of thing. I don't think I'm minimalist on anything, to be honest with you. It's very hard for me to be minimal. I'd love to be. I admire those people who are. Oh, there you go. Sorry, I keep putting more on because I'm not sure I'm liking the hearts on this page. So there you go, I've kind of changed the look on that. Alright, so, oops, got a bit of purple paint on there. Just dry that all off. I've got to go very, very different with the, where's some of these flowers? Yeah, okay. So I need to just tone it back a little bit now with splatters and stuff like that. I do have a little spotty stencil. I don't even know where I got this from. I do like it. Well, I'm going to put some of that on. Shut this off. And I'll make sure I put some splatters on as well. So I'm just going to It's kind of like, I think it's called binary, I think. I'm not sure. I can't remember where I got it from. I've had it for a little while. But I think it's to represent sort of binary numbers on computers. I think. Well, that's what it reminds me of anyway. I love the size too because it's handy to have. I might just put a few more up here. Oops. Like that. Okay. Until I'm not used to working on too many pages at once. Paint out. Come on. I will be putting some white splatters on as well because to me they just soften the whole thing. And to tie these little dots together too as well. And this one. That's the frustrating part, is having to repeat everything that you do on the different pages. But honestly, they do look so gorgeous when they're finished. Really, really just so taken with them. Just bring that down there. Okay, so I've got a little bit of paint there, so I'm going to do some splattering. Just watering it up. I'm going to grab, I'm actually getting splatters over everything at the moment. Poor old phone and beautiful. Dry that off and then we'll move on to the next page. Okay.